to take it nice and slow. We'll get started with a few sun salutations, get the body warmed up, and then we'll get moving. If you're not familiar with Hatha, we're going to take at least 5 to 10 breaths in each of the poses, giving us a real opportunity to become aware of what's happening within the body, any sensations that feel unfamiliar, and if you're working with injuries, this really gives you the opportunity to really feel into it, where you need to maybe ease out, or if there's space to lean into it. So it looks like we're ready to start. So we're going to start laying down today, just giving us a chance to find our breath. So come to lay on your back. You can choose to find whatever is a comfortable position. So if you know you have a little bit of tenderness in your lower back, you might choose to take the feet nice and wide, let the knees knock in together. If you find that it's more comfortable to take the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out to the sides, feel free. And then you might choose to either bring the hands to the belly or the palms to face up as you roll the shoulder blades underneath. And then taking a nice full inhale and a complete sigh out. Giving yourself the chance to arrive into the space. Letting go of any to-do lists, ideas of where you might be, and just arriving here in this moment, dropping out of your head and into your heart space to observe your own breath. And that which gives us life, how often do we take the time to observe? And as you notice the breath passing in and out, let your inhale guide you to any areas that might be feeling a little restricted, and allowing the breath to expand through those areas. And as you exhale, feeling more of the body meet the earth. And then turning your gaze inward, beginning to notice those internal landscapes. Not only the physical sensations that arise, but your emotional state, what's present for you, your energy levels, and finally your headspace. Can we cultivate a sense of witness to detach and observe the thoughts as they arise, knowing that you are not your thoughts and that you have some control over them, and letting that be your exercise to come back to a single point of focus. Maybe it's simply to observe the breath and be present, or maybe you're working with a mantra or an intention. I like to work with acceptance for what is in each moment. Letting go of the striving to achieve the ego, but instead finding what feels good within the body in each moment. So as you begin to gently deepen your breath, beginning to draw the breath down into the belly as you expand through the lungs. And as you exhale, using that clearing sigh out to release what doesn't serve. We'll take 2 more full inhales. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Final one. As you gently guide the knees back into your chest, giving them a big squeeze as you blink open the eyes and gently rock side to side. We'll start to gently take the hands behind the knees, rounding the nose to the knees as you find a little rock up and down the spine, doming the spine to take any plunks out of that rock until you finally make your way through to a seat, crossing the legs and gently planting the palms. We'll roll over the knees, stepping it back to find your tabletop position and taking a moment to arrive into that tabletop. Let everything soften, your body sink toward the earth. And as you re-engage, pressing the earth away, lifting the torso as you draw the belly button in and up. Begin to bring your middle finger to face forward as you stack the shoulders over the wrists, the knees directly underneath your hips. And we'll start to find our cat-cow. As we inhale, the tailbone starts to lift, belly softens. We draw the heart through the arms, lifting the gaze. As you exhale, chin to the chest. Belly draws through to spine as you press the earth away. Inhale starts the movement, lifting that tailbone as you ripple through the spine, heart drawing through the arms. Beginning to engage the back body and draw the shoulders toward the hips. As you exhale, pressing the earth away, chin to the chest. Doming and opening through the shoulders. Inhaling to lift that tailbone yet again, rolling the shoulder blades back and down as you lift your gaze. And as you exhale, pressing away. Finding that full movement through the spine. And as you inhale, opening through the heart. Closing down your eyes, and for these last few, maybe beginning to incorporate free movement, shifting the hips side to side, feeling into what feels available to you this morning. What are those areas that might still need a bit of space? And can you start to not worry about what it looks like, but just move the spine in as many directions as you can, opening into the shoulders, the hips. Breathing into those spaces, and if you've taken a movement in one direction, making sure to reverse the movement and even out on the other side. We'll come back through to center when you're ready and completed on both sides. We'll do a little warm up for the wrists. So as you find your hands stacked directly under the shoulders, we'll start to gently turn the fingertips to face out. And start to gently make circles of the shoulders over the wrists. Going clockwise at first, we'll take 3 rounds, and then reversing the direction of the movement, back in the opposite way, 3 rounds again. And then we'll take the hands to face all the way back. You might need to, if you have quite tender wrists, bring your hands a little closer to your knees. You can tuck your toes to take some of the weight into the feet. And gently inhale to bring the shoulders forward, exhale gently draws them back. Making sure there's no pinching or pain in the wrist, just a gentle stretch. We'll take 1 more rock forward and exhaling to rock back. As we flip the palms to face upward, start to see if you can squeeze those fists, bringing them as close to a fist as you can. Inhale, open, spreading the fingers. If it's too much weight in the wrist, bring it back into the feet. 1 more time, squeezing them up. Inhale, lets them go. Final one. Exhale, squeezing. And as you release, we'll walk the hands back to find that stack of the shoulders directly over those wrists. Keeping the toes tucked, we'll start to press through the palms, sending the weight back toward the seat to the heels, and wrapping the triceps underneath as we draw the shoulder blades around the ribs, really feeling those lats engage as we start to try and pull our heart through the arms. As you exhale, press through the heels, lift the hips, finding your first down dog, pedaling the feet, or 1 at a time. Again, noticing if there's free movement that's needed, turning the toes to one side and then the next, bending the knees. And again, just feeling into what your body needs in the moment. Finding that awareness as you come back to the intention with your breath, finding stillness as you draw weight into the heels. Tailbone lift, soften your knees if you need length through the spine. Drawing the heart toward the thighs as you press the earth away. And as we take our next inhale, we'll roll the shoulders over the wrists, sending the heels away. Exhaling to lower the knees. And as we start to hug the elbows towards us, gentle bend, start to let the chest and the chin come down, hips stay high. Inhale, scoops the heart through the elbows, hugging the ribs. As we draw shoulder blades back and down, cobra pose. Exhale, sends it back towards your downward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting the hips. Breath is strong and steady. Wrap the shoulder blades around the ribs. Bring the eye of the elbow to face upward, gaze toward the heels. Back to that breath, strong and steady. In through the nose, out through the nose. As we start to draw the shoulders to stack once more, exhale, sends the heels away, holding in your high plank. Bring the hips in line with the heels and the shoulders, the gaze gently off the edge of the mat. Exhale, lowers the knees. Chest and chin, elbows hug the ribs. Inhale, scoops it through low cobra. Exhale to send it back. Taking a child's pose. So if the knees, chest, chin isn't working for you, you have the option to come to child's pose, lower the forearms, and slowly slide through. As my shoulders pass the elbows hug the ribs, heart lifts, broad collarbones. Exhale, sends it back. downward facing dog. As we take our inhale, walking the feet toward the top of the mat, finding your fold, soft bend in the knees, feet hip width apart, let your head hang heavy, taking opposite elbows in a gentle sway side to side, letting your breath become steady. As you let the weight of the body create length through the spine. As you release the hands, inhaling to find your halfway lift, flat back. If you have blocks, you can use the blocks to help you find that flat back. Using that engagement of the core, heart leans forward. Keep a soft bend in the knees. Flat back from the tailbone through to the crown of the head. And exhale to release. One more time, inhaling, halfway lift. Deep bend in the knees, this time taking the hands behind to interlace. If you can't reach, you can use a sock, a towel, a strap between the hands. Exhale lets the head hang heavy as you draw the hands away from the bottom. Again, finding length as you inhale and exhaling to close the gap between the belly and the thighs. One more time. Inhaling to find space. Exhaling to fold. As your next exhale washes the hands down the backs of the legs, letting that chin tuck to the chest, belly drawing through to spine as you deeply bend the knees, rolling your stack back up. Disc upon vertebrae, disc on vertebrae, until the last to arrive is the head on top. As you come to find your standing, grounding through the four corners of your feet, your practice, your choice, toes to touch or hip width apart. We're thinking about finding lift, so using the lift of the quads to lift the kneecap as we lift the inner arch, we squeeze the thighs together, and then starting to find that root of your tailbone reaching down, drawing the lower belly in and up. We'll take a steady inhale, rolling the shoulders forward and up to the ears. And as you exhale, sign it out the mouth, rolling the shoulders back and down, palms to face forward as you reach the fingers for the air. And we'll take another steady inhale through the nose. This time, sign it out through the nose, sealing up the lips. Finding out loud, proud Ujjayi breath. Strong and steady, letting that exhale really engage your core in through the nose. Out through the nose. Coming back to the awareness and our intention. Where is your mind? What are you feeling already just from our warm-up? And as you inhale, drawing the hands through the heart, press the palms together as you exhale, finding broadness through the collarbones. And as you inhale, find that lift, prayer high, gaze high, lower belly draws in. Exhale, softens at the knees as you hinge from the hips. Letting the head hang heavy, soft in the shoulders. Inhale to find your halfway lift, flat back. Core is strong, length through as you draw the shoulder blades back and down. And as we exhale, planting the fingertips in line with the toes, an odd detail, but it makes a difference as we step the left leg all the way back. It means that the right knee stacks over the right ankle. Exhale to release your left knee, untuck the toes. Inhale finds your lift. Up and through belly button, drawing through to spine as we lift, soften the shoulders, exhaling. One more time, inhaling to find length. And as we exhale, planting the palms, framing our foot, tuck the back toes and step it to your downward facing dog. Tailbone reaches high, lower belly draws in and up as we soften through the knees, shifting the weight into the heels. And as we inhale, drawing that stack of the shoulders over the wrists as the heels reach away. Exhale to lower the knees. The chest and the chin. Inhale, scoops the heart through the arms, lengthening through the crown of the head as you roll those shoulders back and down. Exhale, sends it back, downward facing dog. Tailbone reaches high, and as we inhale, lifting through the left leg. Exhale to squeeze left knee toward the nose, shoulders over the wrists, and planting the foot underneath the knee. Give it a shuffle to get it there. Exhale to release the right knee down. Inhale finds our lift, belly drawing through to spine. Exhale to soften into your hips. This time as we inhale, drawing the lower belly through to spine as we press through that left foot, taking hold of the right wrist. And as we inhale, finding lift, exhale reaches to the left side, finding a stretch through the right side body. Inhale back through center. Exhale to plant your fingertips, stepping it to the top to find your fold. Letting the head hang heavy, and as you inhale, soft knees, flat back, rising through prayer. Shoulders roll back and down as you lift the gaze. Exhale to find your fold yet again. Letting the head hang heavy. Inhale to halfway lift. Flat back. Exhale, plants the fingertips in line with the toes, right leg steps all the way back, releasing the knee, untucking the toes, and inhaling to press the earth away as we find lift. Exhale, softens the shoulders, maybe turning the pinkies to face one another. And as you exhale, framing your foot, stepping it back, downward facing dog, tailbone reaches high, soft in the knees. As you press through the palms, extend through the arms. And as you take your next inhale, drawing the lower belly in and up as you exhale to bring weight into the heels. Inhale, draws the shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, reaches the heels away, lowering the knees, bending the elbows and hugging the elbows to the ribs as you lower chest and chin. Inhale, scoops through low cobra. Exhale, sends it back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to lift through your right leg, keep the hips level, rolling that right hip in line with the left. Exhale, squeezes knee to nose, planting the foot between the hands and exhaling to release the back knee. Untuck those toes, inhale finds rise. Exhale, softens into the hips. Inhale finds that lift up and out, tucking the tailbone as we take hold of the left wrist, inhaling to find length. Exhaling to take it to the right side as we stretch. Inhale back through center, and exhale to frame your foot, stepping it to the top of your mat to fold. Taking a steady inhale, soft in the knees, find your rise, prayer high, gaze high. Exhaling the hands back through to the heart. Back to your steady breath, in through the nose, out through the nose. Can you find that grounding through the four corners of the feet as you draw the energy up the midline, all the way through to the crown of the head. Exhale, roots the back body down. Coming back to your intention. Inhale finds that rise of the prayer. Exhale finds your fold. Inhaling to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step the left foot back, releasing the knee. One breath, one movement. Inhale finds our rise, prayer high. Exhale frames the foot, stepping it straight back to your high plank. Keeping the heels reaching back. Exhale to lower your knees, chest and chin. Inhale to scoop through, low cobra. Exhale, sends it back, downward facing dog. And as you inhale, lifting through that left leg. Exhale to squeeze left knee to the nose, shoulders over the wrists. Inhale to lift, three-legged dog, heart toward the thighs. Exhale to the right elbow with the knee. Inhale to lift it. Exhale to the left elbow. Inhale to lift, and as you exhale, plant the foot between the hands, shuffle the foot directly under the knee. Exhale the right knee down. Inhale finds that rise. Exhale steps it to the top of the mat. Inhale finds that scoop through, drawing the prayer high. And as you exhale, finding that fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to step right leg back. Knee to the ground as you inhale to find lift up and out. Exhale to frame your foot, tucking the back toes, stepping it to your high plank. And exhaling knees, chest, chin, elbows, hug the ribs. Inhale to scoop through low cobra. Exhale to send it back, downward facing dog. Breath is strong as you inhale, lifting through your right leg. Exhale, squeezes right knee to the nose. Inhale to three-legged dog. Exhale to the left elbow. Inhale to lift. Exhale to the right. Inhale finds that lift, and as we exhale, plant the foot between the hands, releasing the back knee. Inhale finds that lift up and out. Exhale steps to the top of your mat to find that fold. And as we inhale together, finding that rise. Back to your breath as you exhale the hands through to the heart. Where is that loud, proud ujjayi? Can you come back to your intention, or simply the awareness of where your mind goes? Can you bring it back each time it wanders? Beginning to manage your own mind, to choose your own thoughts. And as we inhale, find that rise. Exhale finds your fold. Inhaling to halfway lift, flat back. And as you exhale, planting the palms, stepping lightly or floating it back through your high plank. Exhaling to lower through chaturanga, elbows hug the ribs. Inhale to lift to your up dog, pressing through the palms, lifting those thighs off the mat. Exhale to send it back, downward facing dog. Wrap the triceps underneath as though you want to turn your armpits to face one another. And as you inhale, deep bend in the knees, gaze it forward, stepping or floating lightly to the top of your mat to fold. Letting your head hang heavy in as you inhale, finding rise. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale to plant your palms, stepping or floating through your chaturanga. Inhale to open through your up dog. Exhale to send it back. Downward facing dog. As we take our next inhale, soft in the knees, gazing it forward, stepping or floating to the top of your mat to fold. And as you find softness through the knees, send the seat back, begin to reach the hands forward. Lower belly rests on the thighs, and as you draw the lower belly in and up, finding a concave from the thighs and protecting your lower back, we'll start to steadily draw the weight into the toes as you lift the heels. Strong, steady breath, in through the nose, out through the nose. And as you inhale, start to lift away from the thighs, keeping up on those toes, reaching high. And as you exhale, slowly releasing. Hands to the heart. Breath is strong. We're going to take it through our warrior sequence. So as we prepare, we're going to come through to that chair pose. We've just done it. Sending your exhale to take your hips back, knees stay over the ankles. You can have your feet hip width apart, but make sure your knees aren't splaying or knocking in together, but tracking in line with your middle toe. Keep the belly joined in and up, that tap of the tailbone as you sink a little deeper. Use your own hands to feel what's happening. If you notice that arch of the back, the lower ribs splaying, close the gap between the lower ribs and the hips. 2 more steady breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. As we shift the weight into the left foot, we're going to start to peel up the right, finding stability. If you need to, bring the hands through to your heart and begin to bring your heel to your bottom. Finding that strong stability, set your gaze and slowly extend the leg, planting the toes lightly back on the mat. Coming to your crescent lunge, hips face forward. Inhale finds that rise through prayer. Reach that back heel away as you soften the front knee in. Lower belly draws in. Softening those shoulders. Final full inhale. And as you exhale, opening, bringing that right heel down so that the blade of the foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Front knee draws over the front ankle and checking your own alignment, heel to mid-arch ideally, or heel to heel. You might have space to go deeper, shuffling that back foot away and finding extension through the fingertips. Noticing if you can see the big toe on the inside of the knee, and if not, guiding the knee toward the outer blade of your foot. Strong, steady breath as you maybe even play with closing the eyes. Noticing what you feel within the body. Steady inhale. Notice if your stance changes, if the arms drop as you close the eyes. Can you feel that reach through the fingertips? Final full inhale as you straighten through the front leg. Maybe shuffling that back foot in slightly if there's any pulling on the inside of the knee. And as you exhale, shift the hips back, keep them open to the wide edge. As you exhale, reaching it forward and beginning to pivot the arms, keeping the torso stacked over that left thigh. Engage your left quad, lifting the kneecap. Active reach through. If you need to, bring your hand onto your block. Find stability, the stack of the shoulders. As you roll the right hip on top, left glute is really active. Thinking about finding length through all sides of the body. Final full inhale here. And as you exhale, bringing the right fingertips toward the front of your mat, turning the gaze toward them. Just 2 more breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. And as you start to peel your left toes away from the mat towards you, start to lift an inch or so out as you extend the left hand to meet the right, holding an imaginary beach ball, opening the heart. Final exhale, and as you inhale, lifting through, keeping the breath strong and steady, keeping the toes high, pivot the toes to the wide edge of your mat. You can use your block underneath your shoulders, or if the fingertips reach the earth, you can stay here, making sure that your toes slightly turn in, heels slightly out. Lower belly draws in and up as we start to draw weight into the ball of the foot. If you find that your fingertips don't reach without rounding the spine, instead take your hands to your hips. Find that length all the way through the crown of the head, drawing your shoulders in line with the hips. Make sure your knees are not locked out, but a soft micro bend. In through your nose, out through your nose. Final full inhale here. And as we start to take a deep bend in the knees, keep that length in the spine as you start to draw all the way back up and through to stand. Bringing your toes to face the right edge if they're not there already. Hands through to your heart. We'll shift the weight into the right leg, bending the right knee, lifting those left toes towards us as we lower into Skandasana. Heart lifted. If you find that you're a little wobbly, you can use the fingertips on the earth. Steady inhale. And as you inhale, straightening through the right leg, shifting the weight into the left as you draw the right toes towards you. Maybe playing with bringing the hands back to the heart. Lower belly drawing in and up as you try and stack the shoulders over the hips. One more time, shifting it through center, slow and steady into the right leg. Keep that breath strong. And as you exhale, straightening up and through, planting that left toes to face the top of the mat as you pivot onto the ball of the right foot, bringing your hips to face forward. Option to use your blocks, preparing by planting them down. Whichever variation you're coming to, we're coming into our warrior 3. So we're going to start by just gently straightening and drawing the hips back, draw your left toes towards you. Exhale to reach it forward. You can do this with hands to the heart. It's a bit more of a challenge on that balance. One more time, lift the hips and draw them back, straightening that front leg. And as you exhale, bringing the weight into your left foot. Start to shift the weight forward, lifting your right heel and reaching it away, rolling the right hip in. If you need the stability, fingers to the blocks. Try not to put all your weight in the hands, but instead try and lift your heart forward, setting your gaze. Keep reaching through that back heel. In through your nose, out through your nose. Final full inhale, and as you start to soften your left knee, bring the hands back to the heart, slow and steady, bringing your right knee all the way forward. Find the stability and start to think about lifting up and out of your standing hip. So often, we dump our weight into the hip. So think about lifting up and out of the crown of the head. Set your gaze. Hands to the heart. And maybe playing with taking the twist, left hand to the outside of the right knee as you begin to reach right hand back. Maybe the gaze follows the right shoulder. Steady inhale. Steady exhale. As you inhale, drawing back through to center. Hands to the heart. Extend that leg. Slow and steady. Inhale, lifts, pointing the toes. Exhale, slowly plants it back down. Taking a moment for awareness. As you close down your eyes, noticing your breath. Where does the mind go when we try to balance? What emotions arise? Do you get frustrated, or are you accepting of the fact that today might not be a very good balancing day? We all have those off days. Whatever is arising, making sure that you're meeting it with compassion. No judgment on your mat. As we start to find our steady inhale, grounding through the four corners of the feet, lifting the inner arch. We'll lift through the toes and begin to play with the weight distribution, shifting the weight back and forth, side to side. And this time, as we start to plant the toes back down, noticing how the stance might feel a little different when we bring awareness to our grounding. And as we take a steady inhale, finding lift of the heart, as you exhale to seat back, drawing the lower belly in and up. Heart lifts, gaze lifts. Gradual, steady breath. Keep that core activation, lower belly drawing in and up. Protect your lower back and start to peel up the left foot. Slow and steady, hands to the heart if needed as you bring the heel to the bottom and slowly begin to extend that leg. Reaching the heel away and slowly bending your front knee to plant the toes with control. Inhale finds that lift. Softening into the front knee as you reach that back heel away, crescent lunge. Strong, steady breaths. In through the nose. Out through the nose. And as we inhale, lifting that back heel and pivoting it open, coming to our warrior two on the other side. So active reach through the fingertips. Again, drawing the knee to the outer blade of the foot as you check your own alignment, hips are open. And maybe even noticing that lower back, if it's arching, close the gap between the lower ribs and the hips, engage those glutes. Find length. Maybe even playing with the closing of the eyes on this side as well. Strong, steady breaths. In through your nose. Out through your nose. Play with pressing through both feet. As if you want to tear your mat in half. And then finding a little more softness, the balance between the two. Final full inhale. And complete exhale as we inhale to straighten through that front leg. Again, the option to shuffle that back foot in, closing the distance and protecting the inseam of the knee. As you engage your glute, lift the quad, exhale, shifts the hips back, active reach forward, and beginning to pivot the arms. Gaze lifts to the fingertips as you find the stack. Rolling the heart open toward the left side of your mat. And keeping it strong and steady, again, that option to take your hand onto your block. And to really think about rotating the femur or your thigh bone outward. Keeping the breath strong and steady. In through the nose and out through the nose. As you take your final full inhale here, letting your exhale guide the fingertips toward the top of your mat. Gaze lifting as you roll the shoulder blade around the rib. Final full inhale. And complete exhale. As you draw the right toes back towards you. And begin to extend through the left hand, spiraling the heart open, finding that length. Final exhale and letting your inhale engage your core to lift up and through. I'm going to turn to face you yet again. So keeping that right foot lifted, pivot it to the wide edge of your mat. And start to find that lift through your belly. Lower belly draws in and up, soft in your knees, toes gently inward, heels out. As you exhale to find your fold. Again, you have the option to take your hands onto blocks to keep that length, or to bring the fingertips to touch beneath the shoulders. Make sure you're not doming through the spine to do so. And then start to bring weight into the toes. Soft in those knees as you bring the hips in line with the heels. Whichever variation you're in, we're going to come to the twist. So either keeping your hand on your block and moving it in front of the face, left hand beneath the face as you start to extend through your right fingertips, drawing the gaze high. And as you exhale, swapping. Right hand comes down, inhale, lifts through the left. Exhale to lower the left hand. Notice if the hips are shifting as you do. And as you plant the left hand, draw the left hip back. Finding that reach, exhale, lowers the right hand, keeping the hips level, inhale, lifts through the left, And as you exhale, bringing it back down, softening through the knees as you lift through the heart. And this time, bringing weight into your left knee as you bring the right toes back towards you. Exhaling to shift the weight into the right as you draw the left towards you. Seeing if you can get a little lower. Inhaling to draw through center once more. Exhaling to the left side as you pivot the toes of the right foot to the top of your mat. Coming to find that crescent lunge. I'll turn back so I'm not confusing you. Find that stability of the hips facing forward. And again, you can choose to use your blocks just in front as you inhale straight in through the front leg. And exhaling to bend. Or trying it without the blocks, hands to the heart. Inhale straight in through your front leg. Exhale, bends. Final one. Inhaling to lengthen. And this time as you exhale, bending into that front knee, shift the weight all the way forward. Lifting the back heel. Don't worry if you wobble, it happens. Keep lifting the inner arch of your right foot. Press through the big toe. Lift that heel and start to straighten through your standing leg. You always have the option of your blocks to lengthen, or bringing the fingertips to touch the earth if you don't have blocks. But instead thinking about lifting and lengthening the heart. Can you come up to lift the heart a little more? Final full inhale. And as you exhale, bending the back knee and the front as you start to squeeze left knee towards your heart. Finding that stability, lifting up and down of the hip through the crown of the head. And bringing your right hand to the outside of your left knee. Beginning to flex the foot as you extend the left hand back. Find your stability. And maybe your exhale can turn your gaze over that shoulder. Strong and steady, 2 more breaths. In through the nose. Out through the nose. And as you inhale, drawing back through center. Exhale, extends the leg. Inhale, points the toes, lifting a little higher. And as you exhale, slowly lowering. Back to that steady breath. In through your nose. Out through your nose. Where is your mind? Can you come back to the intention you set, or simply the awareness of what's arising in your body? If you find there's tension through the body, notice how you might feel it on one side. We've just done a sequence, all standing on the right leg. Notice that sensation. And if you need to shake it out, to roll through your ankles, to release those stabilizing muscles we might not use too often, doing so, but mindfully. And as we take a nice full inhale, lifting through to the crown of the head, exhale, flutters the lips. Maybe giving it a little shake, dancing it out. And then coming back to that grounding through the 4 corners of your feet as you lift through the midsection of your body, through to the crown of the head, everything hugging into the center as we reach through the fingertips, heart lifts. Exhaling in. And as we inhale, heel toeing the feet nice and wide. Toes might come off the edge of the mat. We're going to extend the arms and start to exhale to bring the hips back, the lower belly draws in and up, and slowly lowering. We're coming through to our Malasana squat. So often we bring the hands to the heart and we just pry the knees open. I'd suggest bringing the hands to keep that extension through. Keep your lower belly engaged and press actively through the outer blade of the foot. You'll notice it lifts your hips a little. Keep those legs nice and active. If you want to take more of a resting Malasana and you have your block, you can sit onto your block. Keep pressing the knees nice and wide. If you have tension in the hips, this will help to just take a little bit of it out of the hips. If you're working toward your arm balance, your crow pose, you can start to bring your weight forward. So I'm going to shuffle back on my mat just to make sure I have lots of space. And then I'm bringing my hands forward, shoulder width apart. Planting the palms down, middle finger faces forward. And as I lift my hips nice and high, I'm going to bend my elbows, hugging them together like I do in Chaturanga, and sending my weight forward until the inside of the knee rests on the tricep or the elbow, and then play with lifting one foot and then the other. Keep the gaze forward Just playing with the shift of the balance. If you want to try a different entry, if you find that that's a little bit challenging, another entrance to try is to bring the toes to face forward. Come to your toe squat. Find the flat part of the knee on the flattest part of the elbow. We tend to go quite high onto the tricep and it wobbles, can be quite painful. So finding the stack from the heel of the hand through to your hip, a nice straight line. It's going to help us find the balance. Keep your fingertips active, hands come down again, shoulder width apart. Lifting your hips, elbows hug together, gaze is forward. As you shift the weight forward, stack your elbow over your wrist, and then bring one heel to the bottom. Finding the balance, keep those fingers nice and strong, hug the elbows together. Maybe the other toes get light and can draw together. Final breath, option to shoot the legs back to chaturanga or simply step it back to your high plank. Option for your own vinyasa or simply to meet us in your down dog. Remembering it's your practice, your choice, what your body needs. Moving at your pace with your breath. And as you arrive in your down dog, we'll take a steady inhale to lift through our left leg. And as we exhale, stepping that left leg between the hands. We're going to release the back knee and keep the toes gently tucked, sending the hips back. One more little hamstring stretch as we inhale, lifting the heart, broad collarbones. Exhale, shifts the weight forward. Keep the heart lifted. If you find that it's quite a strain to keep it nice and low, fingers in contact, you can lift the torso, bring the hips back. Try and keep the hips in line. If you still find that quite challenging, hands to the hips. Keep it nice and open for your hamstring. Final one, as you exhale, bringing the weight into your left foot. Plant the right hand down. Begin to extend through the left fingertips as you reach high. And notice if your right shoulder is creeping forward and you're dumping the weight into it, press the earth away. Draw the shoulder blade back and down. You have the option to stay here or to begin to reach your fingertips back. Thumb faces up as you bend the back knee to take hold of the outside of the foot. If this isn't accessible, you just stay with that reach, playing with what's available to you. We'll take 2 more steady breaths. In through the nose, out through the nose. And as you exhale, releasing the back toes down, shuffle your left foot toward the outside of the mat, bringing your left hand underneath the left shoulder to your lizard lunge. Steady breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. You can play with lifting the back knee and shifting the weight back and forth. Or you can lower the elbows onto blocks or onto the earth, depending on the space that's available in your own hips. Steady breaths. Notice that tendency to don't look toward your belly button and instead draw the shoulder blades back and down, the gaze forward in whichever variation you're in. Broad collarbones. We'll take our final breath here. And as we lift up and out, bringing the right hand to ground yet again, we'll take it to our side plank variations. So if you're staying with the knee rested, if you know there's a little bit of stability needed in the shoulder, you can step the left foot back to support in your supported side plank. Or if you're coming to full variation, lift the back knee, bring the outer blade of the foot down, press through your hands, step the foot back to find your Vashisthasana. Lift the hips, lower belly draws in and up, gaze toward the fingertips. Final full inhale, and as you exhale, right fingertips come down, pivoting back onto the toes. You can, if you're on your knee, bring the left toes down and step it back to your downward facing dog. Press through the palms and we'll start to inhale to lift through your right leg. Coming to the other side, squeeze the knee to the nose, plant the foot between the hands, releasing your back knee down, keep the toes tucked. Again, that option for your blocks. As you exhale, shifting the hips back, inhale lifts through the heart. Notice if you need to shuffle your foot a little further away to keep your hips in line. If you don't have blocks, fingertips to touch or hands to your hips. Inhale finds length of the heart. Exhale shifts the weight forward. As you inhale, drawing the hips back, lengthening the heart forward. Exhale, shifts the weight back into that front foot. Final one. Inhaling to draw the hips back. And as you exhale, bringing the left hand down and finding that right hand lift. Stack the shoulders, press the other way, and draw that left shoulder blade back and down. Again, you have the option to stay here or to reach back and take hold of the outside edge of your left foot. Spiraling the heart open as you soften into your hips. We'll take those 3 breaths in whichever variation you're staying with. In through the nose and out through your nose. Back to that awareness. What's present for you in the pose? Are you listening to what's available in your body and easing away from any tight, pinching or pain? As you exhale, releasing your foot if you have it, and slowly shuffling your right foot to the outer edge of the mat as you bring the right hand down to stack under the shoulders. Press through the palms, broadening your collarbones. Option to lift the back knee or to come onto those blocks, whichever variation you took previously. Again, thinking about the heart lengthening forward as you soften into the hips. We'll take our final breaths here. And as you inhale, walking the hands back beneath the shoulders, beginning to draw weight into your left shoulder as you stack, pivoting the left toes off if you're staying with your supported plank and stepping it back, or lifting onto the back toes and pivoting the foot as you step back to your Vashisthasana. Hips lift high, press through the palm, gaze lifts strong, steady inhale, and full exhale guides right hand overhead. Slowly planting the hand down, and as you exhale, lowering the knees, the chest and the chin. Inhale, scoops the heart through the arms, low cobra. As we stay in our low cobra, press the tops of your feet into the mat. Begin to lift through the crown of your head as you roll the shoulder blades back and down. And maybe seeing if there's space to gently hover the hands. Keep that back line active. Steady breath. Notice if your breath becomes short. And if so, rest the hands. Find that little bit of support to maintain your breath above the pose. Final full inhale, and as we exhale, hands beneath the forehead, and gently shaking the hips side to side. As you bring your hands gently back under the shoulders, we'll take it through once more. So you can stay with the variation we started with, the hands beneath the shoulders, the heart lengthening forward. Or if you'd like to come through to your Sphinx pose, the elbows to ground directly under your shoulders, lower belly gently drawing away from the earth as you press through the toes and start to roll the shoulder blades back, trying to drag your heart through your arms by pressing and pulling with the arms. If you feel stable here, keeping the shoulders soft, you can begin to lift the elbows and come to seal. Try not to collapse into the shoulders, but find that active engagement of the back line, making sure there's no pinching in the spine, but instead length, space, and extension. Final exhale. And as you inhale, finding length, try and drag yourself forward as you lower the elbows and guide them out to the sides, lowering your head and shaking the hips side to side. We did a lot of balancing and glute work, so we're going to tuck the toes and come to our pigeon pose to gently release. If you know that you have knee pain or hip pain in your pigeon pose, please feel free to take it onto your back to figure of four. I'll demonstrate both. First, we'll lift into down dog, left leg drawing to knee to left wrist, the foot across the mat, sliding the right toes back. And this can be your pigeon pose if you need support underneath your hip, placing a block under the left hip. Find a little lift of your heart and you can slowly begin to ease forward onto forearms or stacking the head on the hands. Making sure there's softness in the shoulders. If you're coming to your figure of four, if you're close to a wall, I'd recommend using the wall for your figure of four. It takes a lot of the strain out of your shoulders. So I hope you can still see this wall and that it's in frame. I'm getting my hips as close as I can to the wall. I'm going to bring myself down, make sure that my sacrum is grounded as I bring the feet to the wall. Heel in line with the wall, and my left foot's going to come across my right knee. And I'm just going to use my left hand underneath my left knee to support. And the closer you are to the wall, the deeper the stretch, the further away, the less intense, and the more able you will be to rest your sacrum. So whichever variation you're in, staying with it for 3 more breaths, slow and steady. As you take your final full inhale, if you're against the wall, simply swapping the legs. If you're on the mat, walking the hands back towards you, tucking the back toes, removing your props and stepping it back to your down dog. Maybe pedaling out the legs before you swap, lifting through your right leg and guiding right knee to right wrist. Shuffle those left toes away, softening in, lifting through your heart. Maybe starting to release onto your forearms. Guiding the head onto the hands as you soften the shoulders wide. And becoming aware of the sensations in the body with each inhale. Noticing where your inhale is felt and letting it be your guide to those areas that are still holding residual tension. And you use each exhale to find softness, a little surrender to gravity. And can you come back to your intention without a prompt? Were you able to maintain that sense of observation for where the mind goes and to gently guide it back when it wanders? Whichever variation you're in, starting to slowly ease out. If you're against the wall, making your way back onto the center of your mat, shifting the weight into the right hip and bringing the legs around. We'll come to our seat. So we'll take it through our Paschimottanasana, our forward fold. So if you know that sitting in your L-sit requires quite a lot of engagement and that you find you're dumping into your lower back, I'd suggest coming up onto your block, just shifting your seating bones off the edge. If you have really tight hamstrings, keep the knees nice and bent. Think about lifting through your heart and find lift through your fingertips. If you're opening your hamstrings and you're grounded, think about finding that length and drawing the toes back towards you as you reach the heels away. And together, as we exhale, we'll reach toward the top corner of the room, staying where your torso stops moving and keeping the breath. We're going to engage the core, really pulling the lower belly through to spine as we inhale to find length. And as we exhale, coming down. If the fingers don't touch the toes, feel free to bend the legs and bring the hands to you, or to guide the fingertips either side, slowly beginning to extend the legs to where they need to be if you have tight hamstrings. Another option might be to use a strap or your mat to extend the arms and find length. Notice if you round through the spine to reach, and instead think about lifting your heart and your gaze, rolling the shoulder blades back and down as you think about closing the gap between the lower belly and the thighs, drawing the tailbone back. Final full inhale here, and complete exhale. Releasing hold of your strap, your mat, your toes, and gently guiding the shoulders to stack if you're on your block. Shifting the weight forward, removing your block, and starting to draw the knees into the chest. Planting the feet down, hands behind the knees, start to lift through your heart, lower belly draws in and up, gaze lifts. We'll take it through our boat pose to lower down to the earth. So as you shift the weight back, squeeze the knees into the chest. Maybe just letting the toes rest. Maybe you keep the toes low to find your balance and maintain the length in the spine. Or if there's space, extending the arms and lifting the legs a little higher. Keep that core engaged. Notice if your spine rounds, always that option to draw the hands behind the knees. Inhale finds lift of the heart, and together, whichever variation you're in, we're going to exhale to extend halfway. Inhale to lift, and together we're going to lower for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, tuck that tailbone all the way under, 2, and 1, release yourself down. Bring your knees into your chest, give them a big squeeze, a rock side to side. We're going to come to our final posture, our spinal twist. So as you guide your left hand to the outside of the right knee, let your right arm open up as you exhale to guide both knees over to the left side. If you know there's another variation of twist that works for you, coming to it and just allowing the shoulders to soften to the earth. Letting your breath expand through the rib cage and letting go of any remaining control over the body. Allowing it to surrender to gravity with every exhale. Acknowledging what's available in your body and accepting that that changes day by day, moment by moment. Becoming aware of our triggers, our patterns, the habitual thought. And knowing what is within our control. Our thoughts, our words, our actions. As you take your final exhale, letting your inhale draw the knees back through center. Guiding the right hand to the outside of the left knee, guiding both knees over to the right side as you open through the left shoulder. Gaze drawing over the left fingertips and softening the shoulder blades to meet the earth, maybe shuffling the shoulders to find that softness. Once again, surrendering the weight of the body, allowing gravity to do all the work on your behalf. As you come back to your breath and your intention. For these final moments, breathing into any spaces that still might feel a little restricted. And as you take your final breaths, slow and steady. A full and complete inhale. And as you exhale, let your following inhale guide the knees back through to center. A big squeeze of the knees through to the heart space. And if you feel a happy baby is needed, peace fingers around the big toe, hands to the outer edges or to the heels, whatever variation allows you to find openness through the hips, keeping your sacrum grounded and a gentle rock side to side. Maybe reaching one heel away as you pull the other to the bottom, and then swapping the sides. Maybe playing with stretching through both sides at the same time, and exhaling to guide the soles of the feet together, and the heels toward the corners of your mat. As you bring the palms to face up, rolling the shoulder blades underneath, and allowing your head to sway side to side. As you find your head drawing back through to the center line, a gentle tuck of your chin to find length in the back of the neck. And as you part your teeth, softening the jaw and the muscles of the face, the furrow of the brow, letting go of any remaining control over the breath, the body and the mind, as you sink beneath the surface for these final moments of rest. Shavasana. If you experience any tension in your lower back, you can always bend your knees, letting them knock in together as you take the feet wide. As you very gently begin to deepen your breath. Bringing your awareness back into the body and into the room. Breathing life back into the fingers and the toes with a gentle wiggle, and beginning to extend the heels away if they're not already. Reaching from the toes through to the fingertips with a full body stretch. And as you guide the knees into the chest, a final show of self-love, a big hug as you rock onto your right hand side, using the right hand as a pillow, and gently pressing your way up to a seat, leaving anything that no longer serves here on the mat. As you find the stack of your shoulders over your hips, bringing your hands through to your heart space, eyes in soft focus or closed down, maintaining that sense of internalization we fostered together. One final observation of anything that's shifted or stayed the same within those internal landscapes. And with a bow of your head in gratitude to yourself, thanking yourself for making the time and the space to practice. And with gratitude from me to you, thank you for sharing your practice. May it serve you off the mat.